But you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Wake up with WURD and Solomon Jones. WURD. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with WURD. And it is cloudy today. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of rain today, a little relief, I think, from that heat, Kawesa. You looking forward to that?
No.
Like all black women when it rains, but no.
No. I mean, I'm glad for the cool down. I'll take the cool down, but it sounds like there's going to be some storms later today. So, like I heard hail and tornado watch. What? Hail?
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Bounce it all off your head. I hope not. I hope not. See, I don't have the protection you have. Hell on me. I'm done.
Dang. You right.
So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like a little bit later on today. Hopefully, we get out of that thing safe. One thing about living in Philly, though, is that we don't normally, like when the weather gets real crazy, like when every place else is flooding and there's tornadoes and all of that, it don't really do that in Philly. I don't, maybe it's because we're in a valley, I don't know, but we don't normally, get it as bad as everybody else. Now, what about you in Jersey, where you are?
Honestly, it depends. I mean, we don't usually get anything super bad, but like I know the last time it stormed, Bishop Royster was talking about how they had hail and tornado, and I was like, man, it didn't even look like it stormed out here. What's going on? So, I mean, it's not too bad, but every so often, we get it, but it's not awful. I can't knock on wood, I'm hoping that we don't, you know what I mean?
I know. Let me not speak too soon, too. So we'll see. Lord, we need protection. Amen. So one thing we do get in Philly, though, man, we get the short end of the stick all the time. If you're a Philly taxpayer, you've just paid out another $1.2 million to settle another case of police brutality. At issue is a wrongful death lawsuit brought by the widow of a man who was fatally shot by a police officer in December of 2017. The suit was filed by Tania Bond, whose husband, Dennis Plowden Jr., was shot in the head and hand by then officer Eric Rutsch Jr. following a car chase and crash in East Germantown. The suit alleged that the police department ignored the officer's history of unconstitutional conduct and failed to discipline or fire him, setting the stage for the killing. Like so many others, the settlement did not include an admission of wrongdoing, but you know what? The officer was wrong. That's why he was charged with murder and related counts in October 2020 and is awaiting trial even now. He was fired by the department in October 2018 as a result of the shooting. At the time of his dismissal, the FOP said it stood by and supported him. Union spokesperson Mike Nealon declined to comment yesterday. But here's my comment. When police officers wrongly kill people and the city is sued, the money should come out of the officer's pocket, not from me, not from you, not from any of the hardworking people who make this city go, because as long as there's no accountability, the killings will not stop, and that is the most heartbreaking part of all. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with WURD. Political commentator Jay McCalla breaks down the Capitol Hill riot hearings, the disturbing revelations about Representative Mo Brooks, the city's new strategy on gun violence, and more, plus Joel Wilson and Joshua Pinkston of 100 Black Men. As always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065 or toll free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at onWURD. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with WURD. Story number one, Representative Mo Brooks may be done with January 6th, but January 6th is not done with him. Back in December, Brooks was the first House Republican to say ahead of the Congressional Electoral College certification that he would object to certain states' electors. On the day of the certification, January 6th, he then gave a fiery speech at President Donald Trump's rally at the Ellipse, where he told the assembled crowd that, quote, "Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass." Months later, he still argues that Trump would have won the election if only, quote, "lawful votes were counted," whatever that means. But Brooks revealed a new detail to Slate. He said that because of a tip he'd received about potential violence, he'd been wearing body armor at the very same speech in which he encouraged rally attendees to start taking down names and kicking ass. "I was warned on Monday that there might be risks associated with the next few days," Brooks said, "and as a consequence of those warnings, I did not go to my condo. Instead, I slept on the floor of my office, and when I gave my speech at the Ellipse, I was wearing body armor. That's why I was wearing that nice little windbreaker," he said with a grin, "to cover up the body armor." He didn't say who warned him or what the risk was that he'd been warned about. There were probably a half dozen different motivations that affected people in varying degrees to engage in insurrection, he said. He named financial losses suffered because of the government's reaction to COVID-19, the belief that there was significant voter fraud and election theft activity, or a great love and respect for President Trump. Those are quotes from him. Mo Brooks has been sued by California Representative Eric Swalwell in relation to his role in inciting that riot. The Justice Department this week refused Brooks' request to shield him from the lawsuit, in part because he basically admitted he was thinking about winning elections, not doing his job when he spoke at Trump's rally. He needed to be in jail. He knew what was going to happen. He knew there was going to be violence. He took steps to protect himself by wearing body armor, but took no steps to protect anyone else. He violated his oath of office. He betrayed the country. As far as I'm concerned, he is a traitor, and Mo Brooks, along with anybody else who was involved in that insurrection, needs to be in jail. Boys, so what do you think?
I agree. Absolutely agree. The man incriminated himself. You go sit there, you sat there, you said, "Oh, well, somebody tipped me off that there was going to be violence," but you did nothing to alert your fellow colleagues, to tell people that something bad was about to happen. You just let people, get ransacked and ran through, and you had a tip? No, under the jail.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous, and he's not the only one. Others knew. There were some who gave tours to some of those people. And so, all of them need to go to jail, man, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, we've got a crisis of our own, and Philadelphia City Council and the mayor say that they're going to engage in a new strategy in handling it, which brings me to story number 2. When Philadelphia City Council members last month fought to include $68 million in new spending for violence prevention in this year's budget, they weren't just trying to boost the price tag of the city's response to the record-setting pace of shootings. They were also trying to change the way the city doles out money to organizations working on the city's priorities. According to the Inquirer, City Council President Darrell Clark and Mayor Jim Kenney unveiled the first detailed glimpse of the new way of doing business with the announcement of how Philadelphia will disperse about $20 million that lawmakers earmarked for community groups. Instead of funding long-standing partners or large organizations with experience applying for grants, the city intends to funnel the money to medium-sized neighborhood-based groups that will also receive help on navigating the application process, building up their capacity to handle large amounts of funding, and monitoring outcomes. The money, Clark said, will go to organizations that have waited too long for serious resources to be made available to them in a better position to deal with the serious work out in the neighborhood on the ground every day, too frequently without any support from government. They do it because it's the right thing to do. It's in their heart. They're passionate. They work hard, Clark said. We want to make sure we get them the necessary tools and support, to which I say we'll see. Because the bottom line is there are a lot of organizations out here, man, doing this work and trying to make a difference, who don't have resources, who don't have connections, who don't know how to go about getting grants, who don't, get the support that they need. And I want to see those organizations funded. I want to see the Black Male Community Council. I want to see Black men engaging neighborhoods. I want to see, the various organizations that are doing this work get support because they are on the ground. They are with the people. They are dealing with these young people who are involved in this violence, man. We, of course, continue to do our work through listening to the streets, through Man Up PHL. And, if we get money, we do. If we don't, we don't. That's fine. But we're going to keep on doing that work because guess what? The money don't go to the people that's doing the work anyway. It goes to the people we're working with. And it has to be about that. It has to be about helping to stop this violence in our streets because the people who are dying are our brothers, our fathers, our sons, our friends, our neighbors. These are our people, man. And too often when government funds stuff, the money is always like, to me, the question is always, well, who gets the money? Because it's never the people who are actually doing the work. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the city is going to do, but it's going to take a whole lot more than just money, man. It's going to take heart.
Yep. I mean, I think that you're right about that. I am happy to see that they're trying to funnel the monies to, some of these medium organizations outside of the larger ones, because I don't know, and this is my opinion, but I feel like a lot of, some of these larger organizations, the money filters through so much by the time it gets to the people who need it, it's not enough there for that help. And so, we will see, just like you said, what's going to happen with these monies and who's going to be able to have access to it. They definitely need to make sure that those organizations have help in the application process. So then that way they can be, awarded these monies. And so, we will definitely see about that. But I also would like to still, see money put into the system for, better access to mental health care and better access to education, better access to jobs. Because really, it's a financial piece as well. You got folks out here killing and shooting each other because they have no other alternative. So, it's a lot. So
it is a lot. It is a lot. You know what I mean? Mother's in charge. Every murder is real. Philly truths. Like, give the money to these organizations, man, that are out here doing this work. And so I look forward to seeing what's going to happen because it is critically important. Our people are dying. You don't have to declare a state of emergency. We're already in a state of emergency. And my feeling is, you absolutely have to do what's necessary to make the changes to save our lives, which brings me to story number 3. Investigators on the House's January 6th Select Committee vowing a deep dive into the attack on the U.S. Capitol may soon be confronted with a grim reality, a battle over subpoena requests and the prospects they could end up in protracted legal fights. Both Democrats and Republicans on the Select Committee say they want to obtain all the communications at the White House and conversations with Donald Trump that occurred surrounding January 6th, but there's an expectation they won't get much cooperation from the former president, his former White House aides, and his allies in Congress who have blasted the investigation. At the same time, they did a significant boost this week when the Biden Justice Department formally declined to assert executive privilege over testimony related to January 6th, telling former DOJ officials in a letter they were free to provide unrestricted testimony, but whether former Trump White House officials could be protected by executive privilege remained unclear. The Department of Justice decision means the committee could get officials to testify like former acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen and former Attorney General Bill Barr, who were at the center of Trump's efforts to pressure the Justice Department to support his false claims of election fraud. The committee has been in touch with Rosen and other former DOJ officials, according to a source familiar with the communications. Now, I need Trump on the stand. I need him. Bring him in, because he's the one who started all of this mess. He's the one who told the people, come down to the White House. If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country. That's what he told the people to do. When they got there, according to the police testimony, the police said that they were told by the people, Trump told us to come. We're here at the president's invitation. He sent us here. What more evidence do you need than that? It came straight from the horse's mouth. President Trump sent us here. And that's why when Officer Harry Dunn made his analogy, I was just so proud of the brother. The brother said, look, you know what I mean? When a hitman commits a murder, you don't just arrest the hitman. You also arrest the person who sent them. Donald Trump sent them. put him on the stand. And, I know it'll be a protracted legal battle, and he'll take it to court and try to, but he'll eventually lose. Just like he eventually lost in New York when he was trying to hide his tax returns from them, right? The circle is closing on him. And the question for me is this: will these people continue to be loyal to him when he is loyal to no one? That's what I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to see if this really is going to play out like it's some kind of mob movie or something. You know what I mean? Like nobody's going to say anything, like it's omerta, like it's silence, right? Or are they going to do what's best for them? Because the truth is, somebody paid for the stage, somebody paid for the speakers, somebody paid for the microphones, somebody paid for the buses. We already know that a Pennsylvania state representative paid for some of those buses to get there, to bring the people there. Who paid for the advertisements that I saw popping up on Philly.com about January 6th? Come out to January 6th. There were online ads. So if they were promoting that here, how many other markets were they promoting it in? What was the marketing budget, and who spent the money? There are so many people involved in this other than the people that they actually sent down there to do that. The people they sent to do it on the street, they call them crash test dummies. Yeah, you go do that. I'll be over here. Right? And so, who paid the money? We already know who sent them, and the question is, can we get them to testify? My question to you, how do you get Donald Trump, how do you get the people who are around him in the White House, how do you get them to testify, and will it make a difference? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. You can also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD, at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
So many times we say to ourselves, I need to make a difference. Well, your chance is here. Center in the Park is holding a virtual volunteer event Friday, August 6, 2021 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Advocate for those who can't, support those who can, and ensure all long-term care residents live with dignity and respect. Register for this Ombudsman event at info@centerinthepark.org. We all feel better when we do something that matters and when we do something with purpose.
Build skills needed for employment through the Philadelphia Skills Forward Initiative, a free upskilling program for workers displaced by the pandemic, those whose jobs are at risk for automation, and Black and brown workers. Complete courses focused on digital literacy, career management, and professional skills for a successful career. Get started today at chamberphl.com.
Save the date. Thursday, August 26th for WURD Radio's annual Founders Day celebration, honoring the life of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. This year will be both in person and virtual. Stay tuned to WURD Radio and WURDradio.com for more information. That's Thursday, August 26th for our annual Founders Day celebration. Exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
This report sponsored by Audible. Volume getting heavy southbound 95. You're jammed up Coppin down the bridge. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard, northbound in Delaware County from 322 up to 320. A bit of a slow ride there. Westbound volume that slows west of 95 to Broadacre Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill eastbound a big jam. Blue Route through the curve. Again, Montgomery through Spring Guard. Westbound jam. Broad to Pass Young through construction. Jammed again around the curve out through Conshohocken. Southbound Boulevard, Route 1. You're busy there now from 9th Street down through Wissahickon through construction. 55 north heavy from Deptford into 42. Make it a summer to remember with Audible. It delivers everything you love listening to all in one app. Stream the newest hot releases, bestsellers, Audible originals, popular podcasts, and more. Start listening free with a 30-day trial at audible.com. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Mostly cloudy, warm, humid, and a chance of a shower or thunderstorm this morning. The potential for severe storms this afternoon. Damaging wind, hail, heavy rain, and even an isolated tornado threat later today. A high of 83 degrees. We clear out tonight. Beautiful weather ahead for Friday and Saturday. Decreasing humidity Friday up to 84 with mostly sunny skies. And low humidity from start to finish on Saturday. 59 the low, 80 in the afternoon. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're waking up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. And as we go forward with these hearings that are being held with the Select Committee in the House on what happened on January 6th, it has to come down to Donald Trump and his people. So how do you get them to testify? And if you do, what do you expect to hear, right? The Justice Department has said that they are free to testify. There is no protection for them from the Justice Department to keep them from testifying. But we know that if Donald Trump is called or if his people around him are called, that Donald Trump will probably try to file a lawsuit to say that they should not be called to testify. But they're the ones who sent the people. Representative Mo Brooks knew what was going to happen. He had on body armor, right? So this is what he tells the reporter. Well, we need him to testify. Who else knew? Who else was sleeping in their office? Who else was giving tours to these people, right? Who else was involved in it? You know, and the reality is for me that there's no way in the world that everybody didn't know. I mean, I don't see how you talk about you had intelligence failures like you needed to spy on somebody to know that they were plotting to storm the Capitol. They were saying it online. They were bragging about it on Facebook. Like you don't need intelligence to figure out what was going to happen. You don't need spies. You don't need any of that. And guess what? They already had spies. They had informants in the Proud Boys. So they already knew what was going to happen. It was a willful decision not to bring in what they needed in order to respond to the insurrection that was about to take place. Who made those decisions? Who said we're not going to send the National Guard? Who turned down the requests from the Capitol Police that came in even before this thing happened? Who said we're only going to put up these little flimsy barriers that they can take and use as weapons against us? Who said we're not going to use deadly force? Who made those decisions? Because whoever made those decisions, guess what? Those are the people who need to be testifying. Whoever said we're going to pay for the apparatus for that speech, they need to be brought in. Whoever said we're going to pay for the stage, we're going to pay for the speakers, we're going to pay for the barracks, because all of that stuff, that's campaign equipment. So who gave the money for that? Who paid for the buses to get the people down there? Who paid for the marketing to say January 6th is going to be a big deal, we're going to advertise it everywhere? Who paid for that? Because they need to be brought in too. And if they knew, like Representative Mo Brooks did when he put on body armor that day, that there was going to be trouble, when he decided, I'm going to sleep in my office, I'm not going to sleep at home, I'm not going back to my condo. That's what he told Slate, right? So who else knew? Who else was Mo Brooks that day? I want to know. We need all of them under the jail. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And here's the other thing I'll ask you, because this is what we asked the young men that we're talking to and dealing with listening to the streets. We asked them this question last night. If you had the money from the city to deal with gun violence, what would you do with it? I want to know what you think. Who would you give it to? What would you do with it? How would you use it in order to decrease this gun violence? Because we need to hear from the people, man. We need to hear from the people who are living with this thing, the people who are dying with this thing, the people who are losing relatives and friends and sons and brothers and uncles and cousins to this stuff, man. Because here's what happens. We are in a perpetual cycle of vengeance. That's what's going on. Right? Where people feel like, man, well, you shot one of mine, we're going to have to shoot two of yours. You know, if I can't get you, I'm going to get your son, I'm going to get your brother, I'm going to get your cousin. If I can't get you, I'm going to get your people. And we all are in these communities, man, beset by poverty, beset by social ills, beset by an inferior educational system, beset by all of these problems, no financial opportunity, no jobs. You got all of these people in this cauldron. What do you think is going to happen? And that's why, you know, when people say, oh, this is from the pandemic, no, it's not. The pandemic made it a little bit worse, right, by pulling back the covers on it. But this thing has been in motion for decades. When you closed down 20-some schools in 2013, what did you think was going, 2014, what did you think was going to happen? You know, the last group of young men we brought in said it starts in the schools. That's where the violence starts, because when you close down one neighborhood school, now you've got these kids coming from that neighborhood to another neighborhood, and guess what? There's already beef. It starts in the schools, spills out into the streets. That's what they told us. You know, and is it really an unintended consequence? When you take all the jobs out of the community, is it really an unintended consequence? When there's no financial investment, is it really an unintended consequence? When your house is falling down around you, even though you're in a gentrifying community and you can't get any money to fix your house because financial institutions will loan it to Karen, who just moved in, but they won't loan it to you, even though your house is worth $400,000 now. Is it really an unintended consequence? You know, and so when you talk about this thing just happened and it's just, oh, it's an emergency. No, this has been in motion for years because of the consequences you have people living in. In a city where you have 25% poverty, where the poverty rate is even worse among children, what do you think is going to happen? And so I need to hear from you. If you were making the decisions, what would you do with the money in order to stop the gun violence that's happening in our streets? Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Kwesa, what would you do with the money?
Ooh, I feel like I would want to, you know, just similar to kind of what I was saying earlier. I want to make sure that, you know, the money is, of course, given to, you know, medium and smaller organizations that are doing everything that they can to combat violence in this city. But, you know, I really do also need for them to take a more holistic approach when it comes to this problem, because it's not just one single solitary solution. It's an educational issue. It's a financial issue. You know, it's a health issue. There's so many things that are, you know, really kind of contributing to the violence here in this community, but also in communities all over the country. And so I think that you can't just say, oh, let me just, throw money in this one spot and it's going to miraculously cure violence in the entire city. No, that's not what's going to happen. They need to really be thinking about the fact that this is a social issue. This is an issue that is affecting people on all accounts. And so you can't just say like, oh, well, if I put it here, it's going to solve everything. It's not, and we need to really be thinking about, what we need to do to make it so that we all have a better, life in general to combat this.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think? I think they should take a substantial amount of the money and create jobs, literally city jobs. A lot of my family worked for the city when I was coming up. I worked for the city for a time myself in several capacities. And, it's a good job. You have benefits. You have the pension system. You have, a good wage. And you are able to take care of a family, and you have a reason to continue to go to work, because you can move out of a department. You do well, you move to another department, you climb up the ranks, and the best social program in the world, man, is a job. So if you got millions of dollars, take a substantial portion of that and create jobs. The city is filthy. It's filthy. And there are a number of reasons for that. I see people just throw trash on the ground like that's what they're supposed to do. I see people take trash bags out of their car and put it down in a parking lot and then leave the parking lot and drive to wherever they go. It ain't no trash cans where you going. Like, I'm watching people do real, just trifling stuff that I didn't see in previous years. But I'm watching people do this kind of stuff. Just regular people. I'm not talking about, construction workers short dumping, taking, stuff they cleaned out of a house and dumping it in a lot. I see that too. I'm talking about regular people, man, taking bags of trash and sitting it down in a parking lot and leaving. This is where we're at now. People throwing trash on the ground like that's normal. Like the ground is a trash can. Like that's what you're supposed to do. That's trifling. Stop doing that. You know what I mean? So the city is filthy. One of the things that we could do is create a special section in sanitation where people just come and clean the streets. You start there, you get a decent wage, you can move to other departments, you can move up the ranks, but it's a start. You start with some benefits. You start where you can go to the dentist, you can go to the eye doctor, you can go to things you haven't been able to do while you're on the street. Right? You get a decent wage, you get a pension, and you get the opportunity for advancement. Take a chunk of that money and do that. You solve two problems. You clean up these filthy streets in Philadelphia. It's filthy in Philadelphia. And we shouldn't have to live like that. You know what I mean? Now, it comes down to, sometimes people just got to get out in front of their house and sweep. You need to do that, right? But give these jobs to these young people to give them an alternative to violence. You can't tell people just put down a gun and you ain't putting nothing else in their hand. You can't do it. So that's one thing. The other thing is, you know who the shooters are, arrest them. They won't stop shooting, arrest them. You got to arrest them. You got to hold them. You got to keep them in jail to keep the rest of us safe. And those who are willing to do something different, you got to move heaven and earth, man, to help them to do that. You can't just, hand out money. Oh, you got to organize. Okay, you got to organize. Okay, you know what I mean? You can't just do that. You got to support things that work. That's number one. But number two, people need jobs. People need jobs. The city is dirty. Give them the job of cleaning up the city. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Jacob from Olney's on line one. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, peace be unto you, Brother Solomon. Hey, Brother Solomon, I don't know, you ain't young. You're a little younger than I am, but there was a cartoon called Mr. Magoo, right?
Yep, I remember Mr. Magoo.
And Mr. Magoo used to always get in some because he couldn't see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he'll drive a car, but he can't see what he's doing with the thick glasses. And so at the end, they said, Mr. Magoo, you've done it again. I was telling Kawhi, I said I wasn't going to call her there. I said, I'm going to listen. And I said, here y'all go again. Pulling me in. My hand, I couldn't help it. But you know what? I hear what you're saying, Solomon. That money, you got to track that money, see where the money's going, and make sure that the people get the bigger bang for the buck.
Yeah.
How can you have a charity organization and only 3 cents of a dollar get to the people?
That's what I'm saying.
All this crap y'all create to steal the money. Man, ain't that ugly though?
It is.
Ain't that devilish? But here we go. You know, when the tech world, Solomon, finds a hacker, could be 14 years old, that's a genius and went into them computers and did some stuff that said, man, this guy could shut us down. You know what they do? They hire him, don't they?
They sure do.
You know what I'm saying? They hire him.
Yep.
You know, Brother Stanley Crawford, man, his group and your group and the group, y'all the ones should be getting this here cash here because y'all know how to do this. Y'all with the people. And the idea, the leaders of these shooters can change the problem.
Yeah.
You can get to them, and maybe we should hire them first. And look, you know, and then teach them, preach to them, teach them, and do everything and show that love and get them. And then, man, this thing, I think we're going to solve some of these big problems, Solomon. That's what I'm saying. Because we're working on it, right? You won it last night. You come off a vacation rumbling, right, for your people for 400 years of struggle. That's what, you know, man, I'm optimistic. I'm going to keep hope alive, as Jesse would tell us. So,
I know that's right.
Thank you, brother.
I know that's right. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Jacob. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to check out some of your comments online. What would you do if you had that money from the city, $20 million to solve the problem of gun violence? How would you spend it? Give me a call, 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
It's time to break free from whatever screen you've been glued to for the past year. Backs up to get back to all the things you love about Philly. The city is ready for you. Go to ReadySetPhilly.com to plan your triumphant return.
Join WURD Radio for the 10th annual Black Star Film Festival, happening online and in person August 4th through August 8th. Enjoy over 80 films from around the world, as well as panel discussions and a daily morning show, virtually at blackstarfest.org. In Philadelphia, join us in person for free nightly screenings at Eakins Oval, August 3rd through 7th, opening and closing parties, and an all-day series at the Man on Sunday, August 8th, concluding with a screening of HBO Max's Eyes on the Prize, Hallowed Ground. Black Star is the premier film festival highlighting Black, Brown, and Indigenous artists. For tickets and information, visit blackstarfest.org/festival. WURD Radio is a proud media partner for the 2021 Black Star Film Festival.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
This report sponsored by Audible. Volume heavy on the Schuylkill Expressway eastbound from 202 to Gulf Mills Boulevard, raining through the Vine Expressway. You're busy westbound Jam Broad to Passyunk. Heavy against City out to Belmont. Again, glad one through Conshohocken. Southbound on the Boulevard, Route 1. That is a heavy ride there from 9th Street down through Wissahickon through Construction. Vine Expressway westbound. That's busy. West of 95 through Broad, again from the Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, you're jammed there from Coppin Avenue right down through Girard. Northbound 95 in Delaware County, heavy from Highland Avenue up to 320. 55 northbound jamming. Deptford in the 42. 42 northbound 55 through 295 busy. Make it a summer to remember with Audible. It delivers everything you love listening to all in one app. Stream the newest hot releases, bestsellers, Audible originals, popular podcasts, and more. Start listening free with a 30-day trial at audible.com. For more traffic information, log on to signalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Severe storms threaten this afternoon as a cold front swings into our area. A spotty shower or thunderstorm this morning, but as that cold front nears us this afternoon, those storms could produce damaging wind, hail, heavy rain, even an isolated tornado threat. 83 the high today. It all clears out tonight. Nice weather ahead for Friday, decreasing humidity, mostly sunny and up to 84, and a beauty on Saturday. Low humidity, sunshine, and high of 80 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD radio. So my wife is wonderful, Kwesa. She found out in Jamaica that I like mangoes, right? Mm-hmm. So when we came back, she bought 2 whole mangoes and said, this is for you, right? So yesterday, I cut up one of the mangoes and I ate a whole ripe mango. And my stomach.
That part.
My stomach jumped back and said, boy, this ain't Jamaica. You ain't supposed to eat the whole mango.
Oh, Lord.
My stomach's been bubbling.
Yep. Yep.
My stomach said, fool, you only supposed to eat a couple slices. What are you doing? Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Everything in moderation. So I'm saving my other mango until my stomach settled down and realize we back in Philadelphia. But why you ain't telling me I ain't supposed to eat a whole mango all in one sitting? Why are you?
I'm sorry. Yo. Because I've done it. I've been there. Like, oh, it's so good. And it'd be juicy and cool. And then you're like, wait a minute. Oh, wait. No.
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, my stomach like that. Boy, that ain't no apple. What are you doing? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And let us know where you are on these various things we've been talking about on this morning's show. And, you know, you trying to, like, eat healthy or whatever. You're like, bet, you got a whole joint right here. You just do that. And like, nah, you better. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. You can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. Suppose you had the $20 million that the city is looking to spend in the community on the issue of gun violence. What would you do with it? How would you spend it? What would your strategy be? I want to know. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Also, these hearings around the January 6th insurrection, the bottom line is we know who sent the people to the Capitol. Donald Trump said, go down to the Capitol and I'll be down there with you, lying, as usual, right? But he said, you got to go. You got to fight like hell. If you don't, you're not going to have a government. Representative Mo Brooks, right? GOP representative. Well, I heard there was going to be violence, so I didn't go home to my condo. I slept in my office, and I wore body armor that day. Okay, well, you need to come in and testify. Who told you that there was going to be violence that day? Who did you meet with prior to January 6th? Who did you talk to prior to January 6th? What leaders within the insurrection were in communication with you? And what was the conversation between you? Like, we all need to know now. Oh, you had on body armor? Okay. What did you know? When did you know it? And who did you learn it from? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You had on body armor. You heard it was going to be violence. And then you went and incited the violence in your speech while wearing the very body armor that you talked about. Who did you hear from that there was going to be violence? You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. Who gave them tours? Who brought the people in? Who showed them where everything was? Who told them that there were panic buttons that needed to be disconnected in the sister's office? Like, we need to know all of that. But more than anything else, we need Donald Trump on the stand. He's the one that started it all. He's the one who lied and said the election was stolen. He's the one who said January 6th is a key day. He's the one who put Mike Pence's whole family in danger. Mike Pence is at the Capitol with his wife and with his daughter. And the people outside talking about hang Mike Pence. You sent them there for Mike Pence. You claim Mike Pence could do something he couldn't do because you don't understand the Constitution. Like, all of them need to be brought in and questioned, and then, if necessary, jailed. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call. You can also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD, at FORWRD. That's FORWURD. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we do have a few comments here. So first off, good morning to Diane Hamilton Mitchell. Shirley J. Carter, good morning to you. Kasahu, thanks for checking us out. Ayatunde Garrett and Judge McCabe, thanks for checking us out also. Kathleen West is saying hi to us this morning. And Louis Rubin Marks and Winona Hayes Poole, thanks for checking us out also. Then we have here, I'm just trying to grab the comments now. Oops, look at me taking too many screenshots of duplicate comments. Deborah Carter, Solomon, we need to keep a third eye open. I'm sorry to say, I don't trust these politicians. Some of these politicians are about themselves and not about the people they represent. Nowadays, it's about the money, not about serving who put you in office. So that's her comment. Over on YouTube, we have Jacqueline Brody Davis checking us out. Frustrated Mechanic says, how can these politically majority-controlled black cities are not being held accountable by their voting base? This condition of violence, jobs, and health is disgusting. Fund Black, we have D here who says, fund black construction, trade, and tech companies to provide free to low-cost training that leads to real jobs for young black men. And then also we have here Alf Din saying civil service exam selectivity and legacy preferences, and then says, I think, equals unintended consequences. And he has the shoulder shrug there. So that's some comments over there on YouTube. Reginald Kuzar says, now we talk city jobs, open enrollment. Netta McQuilla is saying, good morning, Word, I agree. And we also have here Michelle Tullanil checking us out this morning. Tom Bryant checking us out also. Netta says, on the mental health and homeless I think saying funding for mental health, homeless folks, and affordable housing. And so that's her comment. Muriel Revere-Taylor says, I would give the money to groups that have proven that they have a plan. There are many issues that need to be addressed straightforward, not to a bunch of 70-year-old men sitting on the corner talking about they can't say nothing to them young boys. The city is past filthy. So that's what she's saying there. And then Helen Tim says, good morning, everybody. Solomon, you nailed it. Pray the mayor heard it. And then lastly, we have here Diane Hamilton Mitchell saying, good morning, an excellent first topic. Education for our children who need to read, create jobs that transform into careers, and support organizations who need financial assistance and help. Solomon and Queen Kawesa, Sugar Lady said, hey, stay safe and blessed. Tell her we said, hey, right back. So those are our comments that we have this morning.
Yeah, I just think, you know, there's a lot that could be done for the city, and you could use regular people to do it. Clean up the city. That has to be done, you know. Clean up the city, man. Because when you live in filth, right? There's an attitude that nobody else cares, so why should I? So that's number one. right? Clean up the city and give the jobs of cleaning up the city to the very people who need them. The people who are sitting in these neighborhoods, okay, y'all claim y'all can't get nobody on these construction sites. Lie, right? That's number one, right? So you got our people literally standing around watching white people from other neighborhoods come in, from other communities come in, from other cities, other states come in and do work, getting paid $50 to $100 an hour to build stuff in our communities, gentrify us out, and we standing there watching them and can't get jobs on the site. Okay, all right. You don't want us to get jobs on those sites. Create jobs by the city, from the city, pay them with our tax dollars to clean up the city that we all live in. Change the attitude immediately. One thing that happened while we were on vacation, we all the way in Jamaica, Kwesa, right? So a group comes in, and it's these people who are from HBCUs, right? So they come in and they come as a group. And we sit down with these, my wife and I sit down with these two young ladies. They're both graduates of HBCUs. One is from Maryland. She said, yeah, I came to Philly. I came with my friend, and we was downtown, and every alley that we walked past smelled like pee. You know how embarrassing that is as somebody from Philadelphia? You all the way, you in a foreign country, and people are like, oh, yeah, I know about Philly. Philly smell like pee. And it's true. You know what I'm saying? Clean up this city, man. You know what I mean? We got all of this money. We got $1.4 billion from the feds, right? For COVID relief money. Clean up the city, man. And hire the people in the city who can't get jobs otherwise. Hire them to clean up the city. Give them jobs with benefits. Give them jobs with opportunity for advancement. Those who are excellent, you allow them to advance. Those who are not, you bring them along. But the best social program is a job. These cats need jobs, man. And we stand around in a city whose reputation is so bad from the filth that you go to a foreign country and people telling you, oh, yeah, I know about Philly. It smell like pee. Come on, man. We could do better than that. We must do better than that. And I just think that sometimes we looking for all of these grandiose solutions, and the solution is simple. People need jobs. The city is dirty. Hire them to clean up the city. Problem solved. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. 215-634-8065. Al from the Northeast is on line one. Go ahead, Al.
Hey, good morning, Solomon. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Yeah, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's what we're known as. Everybody knows it's a filthy city. People throwing stuff out cars. Right on your block at the holler at people, yo, come back and get that. But I want to piggyback on your idea of, getting people to clean up the city. You hire some of the people that are, left by the wayside. You train them and take some of that money and start an organization for the trades, the city-controlled trade union, more or less, and let the people that started off cleaning transition to the trades, and then that trade organization can bid on some of the jobs that the city are giving out. Matter of fact, make it a requirement that they get so many jobs. That way, a lot of our people get training, and guys can start off, doing the cleaning work and transition to more, skilled labor, plumbers, carpenters, and the like.
Yep.
So
I love it. I love it.
That's just one
All right.
thing.
I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. And I got to give credit. I got to give a shout out to the laborers, right? Because they are opening a training center. I think on the old site of William Penn High School, and kudos to them. And we hope that that training center translates into real jobs. We are looking forward to seeing what happens with that. And so we don't want to just skip over that and act like that's not happening. We look forward to seeing what's going to happen with that. But in the meantime, if the city has $1.4 billion in federal relief money, more than enough to fill the budget hole that we had due to the city shutting down during COVID, then you need to take some of that money and just create jobs paid for by the city, by the taxpayers, because guess what? It does three things. One, it takes potential shooters or victims off the street. Two, it handles the problem of a city that is filthy in too many of our neighborhoods. And three, it creates job opportunities and expands the tax base by bringing people into a system where they're actually working in jobs that pay taxes. There is no downside to doing it. So we need to do it. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know your comments on what we are talking about this morning. Of course, the world is inching back to normalcy, but our approach to educating our children may never be the same. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, has nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Here are the benefits to your children and your family. 1, world-class education and accredited lesson plans streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2, laptops, headphones, and high-speed internet access, all provided at no cost to you. 3, a learning environment completely free from classroom risks like bullying and other distractions. CCA has been in our community long before this health crisis and will continue to faithfully serve students and families well into the future. Join the more than 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
What grows in the forest? Trees? Sure. Know what else grows in the forest? Our imagination, our sense of wonder, and our family bonds grow too. Because when we disconnect from this and connect with this, we reconnect with each other and build family memories we will carry with us forever. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. It's easy. Just put in your zip code to find family-friendly outdoor destinations near you. You'll also find guides to free activities, games, and amazing forest facts. Give the magic of the outdoors to your kids and reconnect with your family. Find a forest near you at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Be there this Friday at the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour as Tiffany Bacon broadcasts live from the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, from 10 a.m. till noon, and stand with WURD Radio to amplify voices of the Black community as a digital forward member for as low as $5 per month and receive a free gift for signing up. That's this Friday at the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, or visit WURDradio.com. Start or renew your forward membership today.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM independent black media.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Independent black media.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I'm going to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We're talking about a number of things this morning, including how the city should spend the $20 million in anti-violence funding that they want to spend in the community with community groups. I have no problem with that, but I think that we need to talk to the community first. And so I want to know what you guys think. If you had $20 million, what would you do in order to solve the problem of gun violence in the city of Philadelphia? How would you spend that money? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about. Of course, the other thing is the hearings that are going on in the House of Representatives around January 6th. The Department of Justice has removed protections that Mo Brooks tried to claim. He's one of the Republicans who was knee-deep in this thing. He spoke at the rally, and it turns out he had on body armor. Said he heard it was going to be violence, right? Now, here's my question to you, Koisa. Maybe you can help me with this. If Mo Brooks heard all by himself, right, that there's going to be violence, how come the FBI didn't know? How come the NSA didn't know? How come the CIA didn't know? How come Homeland Security didn't know? How come all of these agencies that we have didn't know that there was going to be violence and didn't prepare for it? How Mo Brooks all by himself? Mo Brooks said, I heard it was going to be violence, man. I'm putting on my Kevlar, right? How come Mo Brooks knew and all these agencies didn't know? Can you help me? Can anybody help me? 215-634-8065. What a mess. Zaire from South Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Zaire.
Good morning, Solomon, and to the audience. Question. I'd like to make 3 comments. First, on the Hoovers running down in the Capitol and doing what they're doing. It was an inside job, and it was people at the top who knew, who refused the people at the bottom. That's my assessment.
Okay.
Because of Donald Trump. And secondly, my next comment is about Philadelphia getting all this money, $1 billion and something, and then I believe American Bank said they were going to give Philadelphia $100 million towards urban development. Now you got all this money coming in, and all these big wigs is just licking their chops, and they're going to use the people just to skim off the top, and then blame the people for the results. That's my second. My third point is on the violent issue. This has been a culture with us. It has developed. You know, and we have overlooked it. Now it got to the point where these young people getting these automatic weapons. When we was coming up, they had guns, but, you know, it was sort of like restraint, you know. And then time went on, the music, and now these video games these kids play, all they do is kill. So these kids are being, mind is being indoctrinated with this 24/7. Now they going out in the street and think they playing Call of Duty. You know, and it's an inward problem. I believe it starts in our homes, bro. We all got to take the initiative. Mamas and papas got to crack down on these young people. You know, and these young men that got these guns and they in the house and you don't know they got them till they dead. That's bad. That just means, you know, you ain't being attentive to the point where you protecting your child, because these knuckleheads that don't have a mother or father, they out there doing stuff like they don't have no hope. And that's the reality. They don't.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head with your last comment. There are kids who don't have parents.
No, they don't.
Right? And you know, that's what I'm hearing is, you know, you got what you going to tell a kid that don't have parents, man? Don't have anybody to, you know, provide discipline or guidance or anything. right? Any supports. You know, these kids out here raising themselves, man. You got some kids who are in that position.
In that position, they want people they can trust. And if they can trust you, they'll see that there's a change. They can have hope.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, poverty is a part of it. You know, the mother was on crack, the father was on crack, and they're in the system, and it's sad. And Philadelphia is a city that's got a culture behind it. And it's all about getting the envelope. And I don't trust Mayor Kenny. If he on his way out, that's what he going to do. He going to fatten his pocket and take care of his people. Because all this money's coming in the city, and everybody's saying money is going to solve the problem. It's not money, it's people.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head again. It is not money, it's people. I can't tell you how many times, and, you know, I worked in government. I worked, you know, in the city government and was proud to work in the federal government as well. And, you know, when they talk about money, they talk about it in the millions. And, you know, you keep hearing about millions, but you don't never see anybody in your community getting it. So who gets the money? And that's always my question. And really, money is not the solution all by itself. If you use the money to fund stuff that's actually going to make a difference, then yeah. But if you're just talking about millions, that we spent millions of dollars on this and millions of dollars on that, but the money that you spent actually is going outside the community anyway, you know what I mean? The money goes to some dudes that live in New Jersey and they got shore homes, and you get, a fixed up, I don't know, recreation center and some basketballs, and they get the money. Well, then it doesn't matter how many millions of dollars you spent, because the money goes to somebody else. Make it so that the people actually get the money, right? I just think that's simple. I don't think that should be rocket science. The people should actually get the money. They should be the ones who benefit, not somebody else who doesn't live here. And things never change. You looking around and it's like, all right, well, we spent millions. Where's the money? It's gone because somebody else got the money to do the work and you're left with a basketball. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. You can also, of course, weigh in on Facebook at onWURD, at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. That is how you weigh in and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. Kawhi, so what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we actually have quite a few comments here now. Netta McQuilla says, this is from earlier, says lemon water. So I guess maybe try that.
With a mango,
yeah.
mango problem.
Yeah. Harry Williams says, imagine what they would say if they went to visit Kensington. That's actually kind of sad because, even though I'm not, from Philadelphia, I've always been, for the most part of my life, just right outside the city. And there's so many beautiful aspects of Philadelphia. Like, I'm sad that they, only pulled that away. I mean, when I worked in New York, everything smelled like pee and horribleness. So I can at least say that it smells better here than in New York City. I can at least say that. We also have here Zen Motley saying, a job is a great thing. There should be a program that will teach the youth and grown people of their true history. And then Zen is also saying, if you don't change the way people are thinking, and if people have no knowledge of who and what they are, then a job won't change anything. Yeah, I'm here with that. And I said even, a little bit earlier that, education as well, it's all hand in hand. I don't think it's just one solid solution. I think that it needs to be a combination of everything that we've all been talking about this morning. Then we also have a couple other folks who were on YouTube here, and I just grabbed their comments, so I did want to make sure that I brought them into the conversation. We have Lola Khan saying good morning. She says Solomon is right on point. Philly is dirty. People dump trash everywhere. Terrible. Pay these youngsters to keep it clean. A living wage. The city has the money. We know it. Joanne Kemp says, in addition to the young men and the shootings, now we need to focus on the younger children who are definitely watching. Create programs to steer them in the right direction. And then Frustrated Mechanic says here, the state has been initiating programs for our people now for 50 years, and the problems appear to be getting worse. It is the failure of proper parenting and political officers that is causing problems. And I think, we can't just paint it with a broad brush, as you say, Solomon. I don't think it's just one issue or two issues. Like, I think that it's a combination. It is a combination of a lot of failed systems and situations that are creating the violence that we're seeing in the city.
All right. So you can give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Of course, in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking with Jay McCalla. Jay McCalla, of course, breaks down politics both nationally and locally. So we're going to be talking with him in a couple of minutes. And it's 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know your comments this morning on WURD. So, the January 6th commission, to me, if nobody goes to jail, you ain't did nothing. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Somebody need to go to jail because there's no way in the world that nobody knew in all of these agencies. Y'all got all of this apparatus. Y'all got computers. Y'all got listening equipments. You're monitoring people's phones and emails and text messages and social media. So you got all of this stuff. And you mean the only one who knew what was going on and wore some body armor that day was Mo Brooks? You know what I mean? Like, how did y'all not know? So apparently you knew what was going on. They bragged about it on social media before they did it. It wasn't like you had to do a whole lot of spying and you had to put, undercover people in there. You already had undercover people in the Proud Boys. So how did you not know? This to me, when I look at January 6th, this is an inside job. This is something that you knew was going to happen and you allowed it to happen because you wanted it to happen. That's the only thing I could say. Or I could see. I can't see all of these agencies not knowing, and Mo Brooks all by his lonesome, he know enough and got enough sense. I'm not going home. I'm going to sleep in my office, and I'm going to wear some Kevlar. How did they not know? Come on, man. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? If they bragging about it on social media and said what they were going to do, we're going to storm the Capitol. That's what we're going to do. They said it. Wrote it for all of the world to see, and all of these federal agencies didn't know. When the Capitol Police asked for the National Guard prior to January 6th happening, they couldn't get them. Y'all knew what was going to happen, and you allowed it to happen. What should happen as a result of these hearings? You can give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know your comments on what is happening. Of course, Mo Brooks sued by Representative Eric Swalwell, his Democratic colleague in the House, which is ridiculous. Now you got members of Congress suing each other over what happened January 6th. And you know what? That might be the only way to get justice. That might be the only way to get some accountability. That might be the only way to get to the truth. And so the Department of Justice saying we are not going to protect you from this lawsuit because this is not about doing your job as a member of Congress. This was about inciting a riot. And so, no, you get no protection from the Department of Justice. You're on your own. So I want to see what's going to happen as a result of it. Will Mo Brooks face justice, given that he knew what was going to happen, prepared himself for what was going to happen? And will people in these various agencies that should have known, that should have responded, that should have done something, will they be punished? Will they face some accountability? Because how in the world y'all didn't know when the people said what they was going to do on social media? 215-634-8065 888-203-1065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. You can, of course, also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord, at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. And let us know your comments on what is going on. Mo Brooks, GOP representative, Trump ally, told Slate that he knew. He got a tip that there was going to be potential violence, wore body armor at the Trump rally that took place before the riot, right? Didn't say who warned him, didn't say what the risk was that he'd been warned about. He claimed that there were a half dozen different motivations that affected people in varying degrees to engage in insurrection. He said, and I quote, financial losses suffered because of the government's reaction to COVID-19. Quote, the belief that there was significant voter fraud and election theft activity, and quote, a great love and respect for Donald Trump, right? So these are the reasons he claimed that people engaged in insurrection. Not because he told them to go down there and take names and kick ass. That's what he told them. Not because Donald Trump told them to go down there and fight like hell. That's what he told them, right? Claimed he was going down there with them. Of course, he didn't. And what's this about people in the government saying what the government is doing? You are the government. What do you mean? Financial losses suffered because of the government's reaction to COVID-19. Excuse me, Mo Brooks. Excuse me. Knock, knock, knock. You the government. What do you mean, the government? You are the government. You, Trump, all of y'all. You are the government. What are you talking about? You know, and we're going to talk about it on the other side of the break with Jay McCalla. He joins us next. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
At Bank of America, we believe in the power of action. That's why we've expanded our efforts to advance racial equality and economic opportunity with an additional $1.25 billion to drive impact.
I'm Jim Dever, President of Bank of America, Greater Philadelphia. My teammates and I are proud of our ongoing partnership with Urban League of Philadelphia. Together, we're connecting more people to new skills and better jobs. What would you like the power to do?
Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Tune in every Saturday at 6 p.m. to Recovery Talk 101 with your host, Rick Ford, talking about addiction, treatment, and recovery. Right here on WURD Radio. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking at southbound I-95, jam ride there from Coppin Avenue right down through Girard, northbound in Delaware County. Busy Commodore Barry up to 320. Just a lot of heavy volume there. Schuylkill Expressway eastbound busy 202 to Gulf Mills, Blue Ridge to Belmont. Again, the Boulevard through the Vine, westbound jam broad to pass Yonke University through South. Heavy again from City out through Belmont. Southbound on the Boulevard, Route 1. That's a jam ride from 9th Street down to Wissahickon through that construction. 55 northbound, Deptford in the 42. 42 northbound, heavy 168 through 295. Looking for a job? Contact Express Employment Professionals and be part of their national hiring event with one application. Express connects you with multiple employers and never charges a fee. Go to expresspros.com, find your nearest office, and call Express today. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Mostly cloudy, warm, humid, and a chance of a shower or thunderstorm this morning. The potential for severe storms this afternoon. Damaging wind, hail, heavy rain, and even an isolated tornado threat later today. A high at 83 degrees. We clear out tonight. Beautiful weather ahead for Friday and Saturday. Decreasing humidity Friday up to 84 with mostly sunny skies. And low humidity from start to finish on Saturday. 59 the low, 80 in the afternoon. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
cried, his voice quivered. Nobody repents better than a politician who's been caught. I think basically they're just annoyed that they didn't say it first. I sat down on a train. Next thing I know, I'm standing here in the lobby of the Trump Plaza. How did I get here? I don't know. Clearly there was an endorsement that was going to happen that day.
And now, Jay McCallum, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word, and joining us now is Jay McCallum. Jay McCallum, of course, held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administrations, a veteran political consultant. McCallum's work has been published in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia Magazine, and the Chestnut Hill Local. He brings deep knowledge to politics and does so from an African-American perspective. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How you feeling today, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I wake up with great expectations every day, even if it's just a good cup of coffee.
I hear you, man. So I'm tripping this morning off of Mo Brooks. Mo Brooks, of course, a GOP representative who we now know had on body armor as he was telling people to go down to the Capitol and take names and kick ass. And he knew that there was going to be violence. And I'm trying to figure out how he knew, but the FBI and everybody else didn't know, Jay. Maybe you can enlighten me.
Well, and also, if you knew, why didn't you call the cops? Why didn't you call the FBI? You're a sworn, paid, elected representative serving in the United States Congress. You heard about an insurrection, impending violence, and you kept it to yourself? I mean, do you care so little about the Capitol? Do you care so little about our democracy? And he listed all of the reasons why these angry people are going to come here, angry, but never once condemned them. Never once said, but that was, even Nixon said, well, we can get $1 million, but that would be wrong. This guy never said, they're coming, they're angry about taxes, they love Trump, they're mad about the election, but the way they're going about it is wrong. So by keeping their secret, which apparently was an open secret that everybody ought to have known, and everybody did know. The FBI did know. Just like with Judge Kavanaugh, we just found out that there were 4,500 tips called into the FBI with some negative information about Judge Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court, and the FBI never followed up. So they knew, they sat on their hands because they are not afraid of white folks, and even when they started acting out, there was no response. So, I mean, Mo Brooks needs to be charged with something. He had advanced knowledge of a crime, and he acted like he was one of the co-conspirators.
Yeah, absolutely. I had on my body armor underneath. That's why I had a nice windbreaker on top. Like, what? But this is where we are. And he's not the only one, Jay. That's my issue. Who else knew? Who gave the tours? Who told them to unplug the panic buttons in the sister's office? Like, who knew all of that stuff? Because there are people in Congress who knew, and who had advanced knowledge of it, and I believe who were part of it. Because why are y'all giving tours to these groups? These aren't family groups. These aren't regular groups. People saw them doing it. And so my question is, why aren't the Democrats or whoever else believes in justice being a little bit more ruthless about rooting out those in Congress, like Mo Brooks, who knew about it and were part of it?
Yeah, and the fact that this happened on January 6th, 6-7 months ago, and we're just now having a hearing, just now having an investigation of a significant scope. So they've had time to get their stories together. They've had time to destroy voice messages and delete texts that they sent to one another saying, "Hey, buddy, let's rock the house on January 6th." So they've had time to get their stories straight, many of them. Yep. And that's what they say that's what they mean when they say justice delayed is justice denied. Just on the count of waiting 6 or 7 months means some people are going to be able to get off. And so they needed to be on this lickety-split. It was the Republicans' fault that we didn't get on this lickety-split. But then again, the Republicans were well represented that day. I don't think there was a card-carrying Democrat in the crowd.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing. And so we are now having these hearings, and I want to talk about them because 4 police officers testified in those hearings. 4 police officers who talked about, the various things that happened to them that day. Harry Dunn, a black officer, said he was called the N-word. Others said they were crushed by the mob or beaten unconscious. But on the day after, GOP congressman stood by his statement that the mob looked like a normal tourist visit. Will this commission change any minds, Jay? What do you think?
Well, Trump supporters are so doggone hard-headed and brainwashed that they won't believe their own ears and eyes. I don't think they asked Mitch McConnell if he watched the hearings, and he said no. So I think that's the typical Trump worshiper here. Trump has them in an emotional and spiritual headlock, and they'll believe anything but the truth. And it's important to remember that Republicans are only 25% of all registered voters, but they all seem to be crazy. When every last one of them is crazy, their percentage of the overall population doesn't matter. Some think Antifa was behind it, but of course nobody can explain what the heck Antifa is. And there are others who say the FBI was behind the attack. Anything but the obvious. They see this as a contest between Nancy Pelosi and Fox News, and I'm betting they're going to believe Fox News. By all the testimony, this murderous, racist mob came to kill elected officials. But to Trump's worshipers, anything that they learn about that day, they're going to call it just fake news. There are some, remember, there are some folks who believe the vaccine magnetizes their bodies. They believe Bill Gates has slipped some tiny microchip into the Pfizer, Moderna, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Their brains are now mush, and they aren't capable of thinking anymore. Solomon, there was a phrase I learned in AA. Once a cucumber has become a pickle, it can never return to being a cucumber. And I think that's where 25% of the voting public is at. They've become pickles, my friend. They become pickles.
Lord have mercy. This is absolutely insane. And I think, whether it changes minds or not, and I agree with you, I think that there is a segment, a large segment, unfortunately, in the GOP that will believe anything that Donald Trump tells them. And that's unfortunate. I do think that there are some of them that still have good sense. There are some of them who will still stand up against this foolishness, but they are in such a trance, I think. It's unfortunate, man. I watched George P. Bush. This is Jeb Bush's son. This dude is running for attorney general in Texas against a guy who's been indicted. Like, this guy is dirty as the day is long, right? But this guy is endorsed by Trump. George P. Bush watched Donald Trump talk about his father, talk about his mother, talk about his whole family, and still kissed up to Donald Trump to try to get his endorsement. Donald Trump act like he was going to give it to him and then gave it to the other guy. Like, if you're going to let this dude talk about your mom, right, and then still kiss up to him, there's something going on in the GOP, Jay. There's something going on.
Yeah, you know what? George P. Bush needs to have a little African-American blood in him, because if anybody talks to us or trashes our mama to us, no, I'm not talking to you till days after I die. I'm not talking to you. Ted Cruz. Trump called Ted Cruz's wife ugly.
Yep.
But there goes Ted Cruz trotting along behind Trump's Bahutny, trying to find a nice clear spot to kiss it. So, yeah, and they need some African-American blood. You called my wife ugly, I got nothing good to say about you. And you got to look over your back for the rest of your life, because I'm just waiting for the moment to get you. But these guys, they're all about politics. They're all about self-promotion, and they would dance with the devil in a slow grind, if it meant getting elected.
Yes, ugly. It really is. And it's not just the elected officials, it's the people. Like, he could tell them anything, and they believe it, man. Don't believe your lying eyes, believe me. That is a scary, scary place to be. Now, one thing that has happened, though, in the Senate is that Democrats and Republicans have come to agreement on a $1 trillion infrastructure bill after weeks of negotiating. The vote was 67-32. Is this a win for Joe Biden, and does it clear the way for the social infrastructure bill he wants to pass on a straight party line vote? What do you think, Jay?
Well, this was a pretty big deal for Joe Biden. He got something passed, and he didn't just squeak through. Well, they agreed to debate the bill, but they got 67 votes for it, which means it's virtually a done deal. Right. And so $1 trillion is nothing to sneeze at, but I really don't think it means anything necessarily good for the future. Part of what made them able to get so many Republican votes is that they agreed, as part of the compromise, to drop any funding for home health care. The Republicans aren't about helping people, so get that out of the bill, and we'll vote for it. They did, and they voted for it. But this particular version of infrastructure is going to help Democrats and Republicans get reelected. This is the thing they could all agree on. We want to get reelected. They all want to stand at a groundbreaking or a ribbon-cutting ceremony so they can grin with all their 88 teeth and take political credit for a new bridge or a new highway. That's why 67 senators voted for it. The vote was a good thing, and it almost guarantees passage, but it highlights some very bad stuff here. Senators voted for this so they can preen and prance in front of the public about what good boys they are, that they bring home the bacon. But when it came to minimum wage or voting rights or police reform, they came up with a million feeble excuses as to why we couldn't even get past 49 senators. We couldn't find a measly 49 or 50 senators who would get behind justice, better pay, and equal rights for us. And so, Solomon, I predict Biden will fail to get his other infrastructure bill because there's just too much social spending in it, and that's why the Republicans wanted to separate it. And it just has, this next bill, infrastructure-wise, is going to have a lot of human relief for folks who need. But for now, we can crack a tiny smile over a little progress and say, okay, maybe there's some sunshine, maybe there's some daylight, and not be so worried right now. Something good happened.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. The Republicans were keen on separating this out from the social spending that was in the original infrastructure bill. And, of course, now that this is about to pass, Kristen Sinema, who is like the female version of Joe Manchin, she's from the senator from Arizona, says that she does not support the other part of this, the Democrats' $3.5 trillion budget plan that aims to deliver major economic impact in terms of social spending. So they need all 50 senators to vote for this, and Kristen Sinema has already come out and said she's not going to vote for the other part of this, the social spending part. And this is what's wrong, man. In the Democratic Party, they don't know how to unite around anything. And you've got people in the Democratic Party who I think, aren't really Democrats. They ran as Democrats, but they're not. And so as long as you have that, man, it's going to be hard for them to get anything done. If you got the Kristen Sinemas and Joe Manchins of the world, it's going to be hard for them to get that other part of it done, Jay.
Yeah, and what's so disgraceful about this is this means they care more about bridges and tunnels and highways than they do about Americans who are suffering, Americans who have needs, Americans who are going through hardships, because that's what's going to be in the next bill. Joe Biden has a broad definition of what infrastructure is. He's talking about our systems and what we do that helps people live in their homes, live comfortably, or at least live better. And the Republicans are not into that. Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are not into that. What? Help people? You must be crazy. And so who do they represent? There's going to be a lot of money made by contracting companies. There's going to be a lot of money made by people who provide steel and concrete. And so they're voting for this, one, because they want to stand and grin next to a new project, but two, also because they want to help big business. The stock in a lot of companies is going to go up today based on how much they're involved in providing supplies and equipment and raw materials for all the bridges and highways that are going to get built. $1 trillion, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of wealth that private companies are going to take. And as always, you know, there's a certain kind of congressperson who couldn't care less about people, but they just get a smile on their face when, hey, you mean there's a business that's going to make some money out of this? Well, heck, I'm all for it. And that's ugly. That's ungodly.
Yeah, it is. It is. Now, some good news for Joe Biden and for the country, really. The economy apparently grew 6.5%, which means that it has now grown past the pre-pandemic levels where it was, and we are kind of back on the footing that we were before this whole thing started. We'll see what that actually means, and we'll talk about it on the other side of the break. I'm Solomon Jones. He's Jay McCalla. This is WURD, and we'll be right back.
The Mattress Man is a second-generation family-owned mattress specialist business since 1988. Open 7 days a week, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. The Mattress Man discounts Serta, memory foam, orthopedic, and ComfortTech mattresses every day. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure you get the best price and best service. The Mattress Man offers same-day delivery on most models to most areas. Ask about the WURD discount. Call 215-424-5550.
Stage Door, focusing on arts and culture in and around Philadelphia. Hosted by Tiffany Bacon and co-moderated by Jeffrey Page of the Philadelphia Theater Company. Part of The Source, Fridays at noon, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Sponsored by New Voices sponsor Comcast, NBC Universal, and Pico.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you complete a job, you feel so much better. You'll sleep better, you'll feel satisfied, you may even cook a fancy meal and share it with a neighbor. When you complete a job, you will rest better and breathe. Breathe, everybody. Let me hear you breathe. Whew, breathe again, breathe again. It's very important to breathe. Say, you have completed a job. Well, after the job is completed, it's time to dance. It's time to tap your feet. And you're going to listen to something called Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Joe Turner. Here it comes.
Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Well, you won't do right, save your doggone soul.
You're waking up
with WURD.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. We are talking with Jay McCalla about what is happening politically in Washington, D.C. and beyond. Let's talk about what's happening with COVID as far as politics goes, Jay, because a third of eligible Americans remain unvaccinated, And as that happens, Joe Biden is going to issue a directive today requiring some 2 million federal employees to either prove they've been vaccinated or submit to weekly testing, as the Department of Veterans Affairs did this week with its frontline health workers. Is Biden on the right track? What do you think?
I like the idea, but as usual, with Democrats anyway, it doesn't go as far as it could. I may be wrong, but I believe that Biden could issue an executive order compelling businesses with federal contracts to mandate vaccinations with their employees, or any entity that receives federal funds. He could require them to vaccinate their employees, which would include cities, states, and counties. The actual number of people who are not vaccinated is roughly 100 million. So when he takes an action that will mandate that 2 million get vaccinated, I say nice try, but you're still tiptoeing around the problem. He rejected the idea of COVID passports, which would prove that someone has been vaccinated. And proof of vaccination will be very important once churches and schools reopen. But there's no system to prove it. People are people, and people lie, and many folks are going to lie about being vaccinated. We need mandates, and we need proof, and we need something sweeping. 2 million federal employees, that's a nice beginning. But if you're not thinking about ways to expand and employ federal power over more than just the people who are directly on your payroll, you're not doing much. Again, it's for optics, and that kind of disappoints me. Solomon, Biden may be on the right track, but his train is moving way too slow for my taste.
I hear you. And it's bad, man. There is like this debate around the vaccines, and certainly, you should debate anything that you feel like you want to. This is America. Everybody is entitled, certainly, to their opinion. But in Missouri, which has like one of the lowest vaccination rates in the entire country, the debate is so bad that people don't want to be judged by those who are like really like anti-vaccine, and so they're showing up in disguise, reportedly, this according to Newsweek, to get vaccinated because they don't want to be judged by the anti-vaccination folks. I mean, it's that bad, Jay. It's that bad.
Wow. When they're afraid to let people know that they're getting vaccinated, I think that also shows the violence. It's not just social rejection that they fear. I think they understand that there are extremists on the right who would commit violence. One of those police officers who testified the other day at the hearing on the insurrection, he said yesterday that while he was testifying, his phone at home received death threats. And I think with the death threats that were issued against our election officials as a result of the Trump-Biden election, death threats are one of the tools that Republicans have been using. These maybe not card-carrying Republicans, but people who share that extreme right-wing philosophy, they're about violence. And when you have to hide your face and come in with maybe one of those Groucho Marx rubber noses and glasses kind of thing to fool your neighbors so they don't know that you're trying to save your own life, that's scary. I think the threats, I think there's some real physical threats that are being made in that community, that right-wing community. When you have to walk around the streets in a disguise, that's a very, very, very bad thing for our democracy and our country. And I'm sure it's not limited. As you say, there's more than one person has had to wear a disguise. That's shameful.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And, so we'll see what happens, man. I think you're right. I think Joe Biden could absolutely go further. But, this, like everything else now, is political. Now, you've got Mitch McConnell, to his credit, saying people need to get vaccinated. But you got Marjorie Taylor Greene with her crazy self, saying that people, people should have questions. It's a miracle that it was there, but, all of this other stuff. People are dying from the vaccine. People are, and all this. Well, who's dying from not taking the vaccine? How many people are dying from not taking it? And so I just think that you have folks who would rather let their constituents die, Jay, then allow Joe Biden to get a victory on getting the vast majority of the population inoculated. And that's a shame, man. It makes me think about when the economy was on the ropes, and because of this thing in the very beginning, and everybody thought that it was just older people who were most susceptible to it. And I'll never forget, man, a Republican politician stood up and said, well, old people should be willing to die for the economy. You remember that?
Yep. I think it was a Texas politician.
Mm-hmm.
And how evil is that? And here's the weird thing. They spent all this time and trouble trying to keep us from being able to go to the voting polls and have our opinions counted. They don't want black people to vote. That's documented in almost 30 states. But they're going to start losing elections perhaps in some key areas because their voters are dying. 99%, over 99% of the people who died in the month of June were unvaccinated. That's what's got these hospitals overloaded in a lot of these states, and doctors worrying, and the suicide rate amongst nurses is rising because they see that hellish landscape coming back. And it's just these strange right-wing conservative Republicans who believe that the virus is going to cause you to be magnetized, and all this kind of nonsense. And just unrefuted lies that get carried through the three major right-wing conservative TV the cable networks. And so you got Trump, and you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you got other disreputable Republicans, and you got three major cable networks telling them all, you're okay. Don't trust Bill Gates. He's behind this vaccine. Don't trust the government. They're behind this vaccine. And their people are dying. And their people are the only ones who are dying. As a vaccinated person, I'm safe. You're safe. I hope everybody in the listening audience is safe. But they're letting their own people die. And that's just bizarre.
It is bizarre. And we're watching it happen, and hopefully things will turn around. Hopefully people will figure out that, wait a minute, Donald Trump got vaccinated. Him and his wife got vaccinated in January in the White House. As soon as they could get it, they got vaccinated. You know what I mean? Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, got vaccinated. Hopefully people will figure that out and be like, well, wait a minute. Well, why are they telling us not to? Hopefully people will figure that out, Jay. This is what I'm hoping, that people will come to their senses and say, wait a minute, if they got vaccinated, why are they telling us not to? That's the question I hope people will ask.
Yeah, amen. Amen to that, brother. Amen.
Yeah. So I want to talk about what's happening here in the city of Philadelphia. The mayor and city council said the city will disperse $20 million in anti-violence money to medium-sized neighborhood-based groups that will also receive help on navigating the application process and other help. What are your thoughts, Jay?
Man, this lousy $20 million is 4/1,000th of 1% of our $4.5 billion budget. It doesn't even rise to the level of chump change. Our politicians are throwing political peanuts at our murder crisis, and they are expecting us to applaud. I mean, this was a press release, for heaven's sakes. Like, this is good news, isn't it? No, it isn't good news. This $20 million is just to help community groups develop the ability to spend money. They're saying they want to help develop capacity on the part of moderate-sized community groups. And I don't think spending capacity is part of our murder problem. I don't think it is. This picayune piece of cash, I believe, is intended to silence community critics by creating the illusion that the city has a plan, that they have an approach, when in fact the city doesn't have either. They don't have a plan, an approach, or a clue. By their own numbers, by the police department's own numbers, cops make one arrest for every odd school diploma. So they're very well paid. They could never find jobs as cushy as that and as well paid as that in any other marketplace in this country. And I think step two has to be jobs. We all know that these folks doing the killing are unemployed. There's nobody out there shooting up the streets who then wakes up at 7 o'clock in the morning and then goes to their job at Pennsylvania Hospital. Nobody's doing that. And I think we also have to give ex-offenders a few extra points. If they pass the civil service exam, throw them a few extra points so that they can have a better chance of getting a job. We do that, and that system exists for veterans, and I support that we do it for veterans, but ex-offenders can't get jobs once they come out of jail. I mean, that's the dirty little secret. Nobody's going to hire them, and so they're not going to be able to pay into Social Security, and so their lives, they can walk the streets, but they may as well still be in jail. They're still paying the price for their crime, and that's wrong. I think we need to confront the building trades, confront them, and their $80 an hour jobs, which seem to only go to white males. We have to make jobs available and open doors that are right now closed to the population that's out there shooting and the generation that's coming up behind them. It ain't complicated. But our politicians, like politicians do, they're nibbling around the edges, and they expect to be applauded for it. Solomon, these folks who are throwing $20 million out there, and there's going to be 100, 150 organizations applying for it, and whichever ones get the money, they're going to start praising the system. I don't care who they are. Once you start getting paid from somebody, you're going to have a very high opinion of that person who's giving me money every week. So I think these guys are Kenny and the city council. They're just playing with their fiddles while Rome burns.
Yeah, I just think I think that a major part, if you're going to spend major money, part of that money has to go to just creating jobs for these guys. One of the things that I have said is that the city's dirty, and so somebody has to clean it up. Create city-funded jobs for them to clean it up. And if you can't do it through the traditional system, then create something separate to pay them, just like you created something separate to do the pre-K thing. Remember that? That was supposed to be, you know what I mean? So create something to give these guys jobs to clean up the city. You know what I mean? Give them benefits, give them everything that a city worker gets, so that they can get out here, clean up the city, and it solves three problems. One, it takes potential shooters and potential victims off the street. Two, it cleans up a city that is filthy. And three, it creates taxpayers who are actually paying into the system. There's no downside to doing it, man. So, I just think that certainly it's great to give money to community groups. I think that's part of what needs to be done. But I think the other part of what needs to be done is you have to create something that is an alternative to the streets, man. Because if you don't do that, guess what? You still gonna have the same problem at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. Without having gone there lately, I can tell you right now, Broad not only has dirt and filth and trash. You can imagine Germantown and Shelton. You just know the intersections that need to be cleaned up, and we're good and big on creating special services districts where we hire people for the express purpose of cleaning the streets. Yep. So we know how it's done. You get a citywide core of young men and women, go to mentoring groups like yours, Man Up Philly, and say, who are the young, hopeful men you're in contact with? Well, we want to hire them. And then you put them out there, because cleaning up trash in a city like ours is a forever job. It's a forever job. You can retire on that kind of job. And just have them up there. Have them out there after elections to take down these posters that politicians put up. There's work to do, but our city government has no intention of giving it to the most vulnerable, our most vulnerable population who desperately need a job. And when they don't have a job, that translates, in too many cases, translates into murder.
It's unfortunate, man. So we'll see if that happens. But I'm heartened that there is $20 million for community groups, but I want to see people get jobs. I want to see the money go to the people. So we'll see if that happens. Jay McCallum, of course, held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administrations. A veteran political consultant, McCallum's work has been published in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia Magazine, and the Chestnut Hill Local. He brings deep knowledge of politics and does so from an African-American perspective. Jay, as always, thanks so much.
It's an honor, Solomon.
All right. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with our next guest, Joel Wilson, Joshua Pinkston from 100 Black Men. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Hey WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Be there this Friday at the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour as Tiffany Bacon broadcasts live from the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, from 10 a.m. till noon, and stand with WURD Radio to amplify voices of the Black community as a digital WURD member for as low as $5 per month and receive a free gift for signing up. That's this Friday at the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, or visit WURDradio.com. Start or renew your WURD membership today. This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I'm going to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. We, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. We'll talk to Joel Wilson from 100 Black Men at 9:20. So we'll talk with him in a few minutes. But we want to hear from you. So you could certainly give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show, 215-634-8065. You can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. That's where you can weigh in and give your opinion there as well. You can also weigh in on YouTube as well. So we're talking about a number of things, and a great conversation with Jay McCalla about what's going on politically. One of the things I've been watching, though, over the past couple of days is the reaction to Simone Biles pulling out of the Olympics, saying her head wasn't in the right space, talking about prioritizing her mental health. And, you know, it's just been an interesting, I think, thing to see how people have responded to that because, you know, you just took it for granted that if Simone Biles competed, you're going to get a gold medal. But this young woman has been through a lot, man. Has been through a whole lot. You know, competing with injuries. She was out there doing, gymnastics with a broken toe. My toe broken, I ain't even walking. You know what I'm saying? Had a liver stone the day before a major competition and competed anyway. Went through a horrific, sexual assault thing with the gymnastics doctor, Larry Nasser. And people questioned her toughness when she decided not to compete. And, I don't know anybody that's tougher than somebody that's doing gymnastics with a broken toe, Kawesa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, people are really like, they are ripping into her, and I'm not here for it. Like, I'm really, really not here for it. I think that a lot of times, and, I grew up playing sports, and I think that a lot of times, you have people who really want to push athletes to the brink of, destroying their bodies, their minds, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of athletes have a lot of, mental health issues. Sometimes when you are like always constantly pushing yourself and making yourself do things that maybe your body is trying to tell you, like, no, I think we should take a break, it takes a toll. It really, really does. And then sometimes even as an athlete, when you have, that adrenaline pumping through you, you sometimes ignore some of those signs that your body is trying to say, like, no, we should chill for a second. You got folks out here who are, trying to compare her situation to, oh my gosh, it was the one of the Dream Team Olympics, Carrie Strug, or I think that was her name. Yeah, Carrie Strug. And she had a whole broken leg issue going on and still vaulted. Yeah. And she had to have surgery after that. And people were like, oh my gosh, she did so well and she pushed herself in there. But now that people are starting to look at some of these things in a completely different light now, because they're like, she shouldn't have had to do that. She shouldn't have been pushed to that point where she basically, broke her body down. Yeah. So I'm not here for, all these folks who are trying to, demonize Simone Biles, make it seem like she's weak, make it seem like, she's somehow not worthy of still, maintaining the GOAT status. Like she still is and will always be an amazing athlete. And so I just need for people to leave her alone. That's
and I want to know exactly, what's going on with her, man. And, when she's ready. When she's ready to talk about it, I want to know what's going on because, again, she's been through a lot. She's been through a whole lot. And these athletes, literally, especially Olympians, they sacrifice, for their whole lives. Once that talent is kind of established when they're a kid and they get put into that pipeline, that's it. That's everything that they're doing for years to prepare for these Olympics. And for her to have to pull out, I want to know what's going on. And I want to know that USA Gymnastics provided her the help that she needed in order to get what she needs. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's talk to Bobby from Philly on line one. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yes, I'll make this as quick as I possibly can. I had a plumbing problem, and I called WURD, and within 2 weeks, after calling the station, Arrow Plumbing, who had sent another plumbing company out to do some work, and they didn't return. And as of July the 27th, like I said, after talking to the radio station, they called me, and they had a check for me. And the case was settled, and I wanted to appreciate you for doing that for me.
You're welcome.
And that's all.
You're welcome. All right, and thank you for your call this morning on WURD. We certainly appreciate that. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, where we do everything, including apparently solving people's plumbing problems. So I appreciate the fact that was taken care of for you. We're talking about a number of things this morning, including the hearings that are taking place in Washington, D.C. And, I want to know who's going to jail, man. Mo Brooks said he knew. He knew about everything that was happening. He knew that there was going to be violence, and so he put on his body armor. He said that's why he had on a nice windbreaker on top of it to hide the body armor. He knew what was going on, right? And so who's going to jail? That's all I need to know. You know what I mean? Who's going to be locked up? Who's going to face some consequences? Who's going to get punished? Like, what is going to happen as a result of 140 police officers being injured? One of them dying the next day after fighting these people for hours, right? 5 people in total dying, as a result of what happened that day, and then 2 more police officers committing suicide a couple of weeks later. Where's the FOP? Have you heard anything from the FOP? I'm still trying to figure out where they at, because these are your people. These are dues-paying members of the FOP. Harry Dunn was on CNN last night. He's the black officer who testified, and he said, yeah, I'm part of the FOP. I paid money. I pay my money to the FOP. I'm a member of the FOP. He was asked, did the FOP say anything? Have they done anything to support you? He said, no. Where's the FOP? Because y'all support police officers when they murder black people. Y'all say y'all got a whole lot to say then, but you don't have anything to say now. 140 of your officers injured, 3 of them dead. 1 died the day after, ostensibly from his injuries. They claim it was natural causes. I don't believe it. 2 of them committed suicide. 140 of them injured, and y'all don't have nothing to say? But you got plenty to say when they shoot black people. Y'all had a whole lot to say when the cop shot Dennis Plowden. The city just had to pay out $1.2 million to settle that lawsuit. Y'all had plenty to say then. You were in support of him after he killed a black person. But your officers get injured by this pro-Trump crowd, and y'all ain't got nothing to say? Where's the FOP? Oh, yeah, that's right. Y'all endorsed Donald Trump. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. Eric from West Philly is on line 1. Go ahead, Eric.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to apologize for naming names. I shouldn't have done that. But with Simone Biles, I heard him make a comparison with Michael Jordan. The difference is Michael Jordan's father was murdered. That's why he stepped down. But I think that there's a lot of people that want to trash black women anyway, so that's what's going on. And plus, they probably losing a lot of money because she was a sure bet. So they hurting because of that. But the vegetarian piece you was talking about yesterday, I went to this vegetarian spot, and that was the best food I ever had. It all came down to the way the food is prepared.
Yeah.
The way they prepared that food, they didn't use no seasoning. They used all spices. So there's a big difference in the way the food is prepared. And I love that, and they went out of business. So y'all have a good one.
All right, man. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. We certainly appreciate it. Let's go to Tom from Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Tom.
Yes, good morning, Brother Solomon.
Good morning.
I'm going to keep this short and brief. You know what I mean? It's 2 things. Do you remember the first sister that was on that Olympic team before Simone Biles? And they talked about her hair. She won the gold medal. She did all that, right?
Yeah.
And then when Simone got there, the sister was still there to give her support. You know, this Olympics, they didn't let her parents and stuff come, and it was political and racial. You know what I mean? Because we don't know the tone that the country set for this woman to go to this Olympics, you know, the pressure she was up under, and the racial tone. You know what I mean? Because we had that summer of Black Lives Matter. You know, Naomi Osaka, she backed up out because, you know, the thing is that it was a mental thing that was going on. You know, but they picked on that one sister, and now we don't even know. I forgot her name.
Gabby Douglas. Gabby Douglas.
Right, and they picked on her. And they picked on her the way as though we don't even.
And it was black people doing it. I mean, let's not get it twisted. It was black people doing that. Talking about her hair. Oh, she needed. The girl, she's an athlete. She's doing athletics. Her hair. Like, that's what they were doing. Yeah, I remember.
And then number two is, and I'm going to keep this brief. Remember when Donald Trump, he cleaned out the FBI, put a new guy in there, the CIA, and the Defense Department, right? Before all this happened, he put his people in, he fired everybody else, and this is how they knew that this was going to go down. you know, with the insurrection. You know what I mean? Because he put people in the FBI. He fired the FBI director, the CIA director, and the Department of Defense. He put people in the Pentagon. And then when the time came down, they did nothing. You know, so that was my take on that. And, you know, I would like to thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That's the number. Let's talk with Tom from Philly on line 2. Go ahead. Let's talk with Brother Hurt from North Philly on line 3. Go ahead.
What up, my brother?
What up, man?
The #1 radio station in the world. You a queen. You and the queen, the best #1. Son, lock Trump up. He is a time bomb waiting to explode. He the one started all this mess. Lock him up. If you don't lock him up, make sure he don't run for office. He's a time bomb. I love you, Simon. You the best, man.
Love you back, brother. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, you can certainly give us a call, 215-634-8065. But you can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord, at FORWRD. That's FORWRD. Renee from West Oak Lane is online, too. Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, good morning, Solomon, Kuwait, and people. Solomon, I just want to say you the GOAT of radio because you keep the lines hot. I mean, you just keep people. I mean, I didn't want to call today, but I had to. But I just want to speak about Simone Biles. It's pressure just alone, just her being a young black female. You know, just like when I told me, you know, she's a minority. That's just pressure alone on top of everything else. But I just want to speak on Jay McCollum when he said that $20 million is chicken change, and he's right. Like you said, it takes more than money. It takes programs like you have, Solomon, like Man Up. And I wanted to make that thing when you said, Simon, a lot of young black kids are raising themselves and stuff like that. And I had made a comment yesterday on how I said racism play a big part in how we treat ourselves and each other. You said the young guys from Man Up are not saying that. They're talking about what's happening to them and each other. And I want to know, do the guys from Man Up, do they talk about their environment, how they were raised up whether they raised up in a single family home or mother and father, and do they talk about how accessible it is to get guns and bullets? And the reason I'm saying that is because it seems to be just our young black men that are shooting, and innocent black people are getting killed. And I believe that our young black people and black people, period, we've been tampered with in so many different ways and levels of racism. And I believe the pressure of racism caused a lot of our mental illness amongst black people and people of color. So I think as black people, our behavior from oppression and depression do stimulate from racism. You don't hear about white kids or Latino kids or Asian kids killing, shooting, running up and down the street, shooting people, innocent people on the street. I think that anybody can be tampered with or manipulated, and any race can be instigated, especially the black race. I think if we can teach our young people about racism, how it play a great factor in our behavior, how racism is designed for self-destruction for our race and demolish our race of people, we would have a better understanding in our young people. And Solomon, I want to know, how can I donate to Man Up? I want to help any way that I can, you know, the situation for our young black people, our people, period. And I just want to, could you let us know how anybody, if they want to donate something to Man Up?
Yeah, they can go to manupPHL.org and donate online. manupPHL.org, click on the donate button, and you can donate there. manupPHL.org is where you can donate. So you can do that there. You asked a question about do the young men talk about how they were raised? Do they talk about, you know, the easy access to guns? Do they talk about whether or not they had single parents or other parents? We talk about all kinds of stuff, and those things are among them. And one of the things that kind of sticks with me is young men talking about the fact that some of these young boys don't have parents. They are literally raising themselves. And so they don't necessarily want to get out of the game. They don't want to stop the gun violence. They also talked about the cycle of vengeance and how do you make that stop? Like, what do you expect someone to do when their brother or their father or their cousin is killed? What is it that you expect for them to do? Do you expect them to just not do anything? And, you know, that's a serious question. When you're in an environment where if you don't do anything, then you might be next. You know, it's a serious question, man. And I don't know that we are understanding the type of environment that our young folks are living in. And Renee, I want to thank you for your call. Where, you know, it's in some cases it's kill or be killed. In some cases it is take vengeance or be the next victim. In some cases it's, you know, you are raising yourself. You don't have a father. You don't have necessarily a mother. You don't have anything but the streets. Like there are some young people who are in dire straits, you know, and it's not a game. And so, you know, we have to ask some hard questions, and we have to look at some hard answers to what is going on, because it's not as simple as give them a basketball and something to do. It's so much more than that. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with Joel Wilson, Joshua Pinkston from 100 Black Men. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Star Fusion Express is Philly's first choice when cravings for big, juicy burgers, crispy chicken sandwiches, delicious wings, crisp salads, creamy mac and cheese, innovative spring rolls, and delectable fresh seafood kicks in. Did you hear that? Star Fusion Express at 5178 Parkside Avenue in West Philly is your go-to for fresh, flavorful, homemade deliciousness 7 days a week. Learn more and check out the menu at starfusionrestaurant.com. That's starfusionrestaurant.com for the best burgers, chicken sandwiches, wings, salads, spring rolls, and fresh seafood creations in Philly's Parkside neighborhood. Holla! Hope Partnership Middle School offers a quality, subsidized independent school education to students and families in North Philadelphia. Located at 2601 North 11th Street, Hope offers small class sizes, personalized learning, a research-based curriculum, dedicated teachers, and a graduate support program, which supports students through high school graduation. They are currently accepting applications for 5th to 7th grade students for September. For more information, please contact them at info@hope-partnership.org.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Tune in this Sunday at 5 p.m. for the Money Matters Show, providing information about transferring, accumulating, and preserving your wealth, with host Walter Watson.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and the world is inching back to normalcy, but our approach to educating our children may never be the same. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, has nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Here are the benefits to your children and your family. 1, world-class education and accredited lesson plans streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2, laptops, headphones, and high-speed internet access, all provided at no cost to you. 3, a learning environment completely free from classroom risks like bullying and other distractions. CCA has been in our community long before this health crisis and will continue to faithfully serve students and families well into the future. Join the more than 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me. And of course, another organization that's been in our community for a long time, 100 Black Men. Joel Wilson is the president of 100 Black Men Philadelphia. Joshua Pinkston is a millennial member of the organization, college grad, prior athlete, and New Jersey court personnel. Good morning to you both. Joel, Joshua, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Salman. Good morning.
Good morning. Joel, tell us about 100 Black Men. What do you do?
So 100 Black Men at its core is a mentoring program. Nationally, it was founded back in 1963 in New York City. Two of our famous founders are Mayor Dave Jenkins and Jackie Robinson. And it stood up to a response to police brutality issues in New York City. And so once and then after they got finished protesting, they realized that they needed to organize and come up with programs and systems to help the young folks navigate and make, do the best they can in life. So today, there's over 100 chapters through the country. We also have a chapter in England, Turks and Caicos, and Ghana. And in Philly, we run over 10 mentoring programs. One of our newest mentoring programs is a pre-apprenticeship trades program for high school students. So we'll be putting 35 students through where they learn carpentry and electrical and things of that nature starting in September.
Okay. All right. And so, Joshua, what has your participation in 100 Black Men been like?
It's been exciting. It's been amazing, really. I've been able to join in with the 100 Black Men starting back in 2017, 2018, where I was introduced by the Western Pennsylvania chapter president, Mr. Al Valentine. And I was able to come on as a president at the collegiate level at the chapter, the collegiate chapter. And since then, my transition has been great. After I graduated, I was able to graduate with a master's in organizational leadership. And through the connections of the 100, I was introduced to Joel Wilson for the Philadelphia chapter. And from there, I just wanted to leave a lasting impact, leave some great value. And I think we're doing a really great job at doing it.
Okay. All right. And so, Joel, what do you hope young men get out of participating in 100 Black Men?
So Solomon, that's a very good question. When I compare sort of our young men here in Philadelphia and in the places that are hardest hit, and if I compare them to where they are successful, either here in Philly or in the suburbs, I'm looking at what's missing. And so what is missing is a lot of what we would call traditional things, stable households, role models that they can follow, men that are actually taking care of their families and their bills legally, that they can talk to and learn from, men that they can have fun time with. And that's what sort of brings up, we're doing a game day this Saturday. That's an opportunity for the young men to just, have fun times, playing Uno, playing chess, playing some horse basketball. A lot of these little things we take for granted. A lot of our young boys in the city, especially now with the gun violence, they can't do these type things. So, when I look at, I'm just very proud and appreciative with what you've done with your own son, and you've been able to impact him just with your presence. And so we're trying to do, or not trying, we're doing that exact same thing for many of our young boys. And we go from 1st through 12th grade to our boys who may not have the luxury of that model being there. So, that's what we're doing. We're impacting them, not just academics, it's not just skills, it's more of a holistic approach.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, Joshua, as someone who is a millennial member of the organization, what do you hope to impart to the younger men who are coming in and working with you guys? What lessons do you want to teach that you think are unique because you're younger?
I think for me, being one of the younger and being part of the younger generation is it's never too early to start getting your life in order. And I've came across several lessons in my young life that has been very important for me to act upon and take action to. So what I like to do, I'm very passionate in mentoring, teaching, and helping others on a personal or organizational level. So I enjoy using specific techniques centered around emotional intelligence. And I feel as though, and I think that in the black community and in most communities, young men struggle to manage their emotions, control their thoughts, and starting from that at a really early age can make a great change in a young person's life.
Now, Joel, you've been doing this work for a long time, man. You know, you got a lot going on through Tech Core, and you helped us to start Man Up PHL, which I will always appreciate. And you do 100 Black Men, Philadelphia, and all of the work that you have done in trying to shape young men and even older men in this community. What are some of the lessons that you've learned that you've been able to apply in 100 Black Men?
So I think one of the key things when dealing with young men is listening, and then I would say listening with an empathetic heart. People, you don't know the circumstances or the environment that a young person is coming from, especially when you first encounter them. So you just want to listen, and then once you can establish some type of rapport, you want to start trying to build in small steps, some type of goal setting, that they want. So it's not what you want out of life. I would love for everyone to become an engineer, but that's not what most people want. So it's about what they want to do, and you're just trying to help them to make it through. And I've also learned that you're not going to get the success signal when you want it. It's going to come at an inopportune time. And sometimes when you think you're failing, you'll get that text or that call. Like I just got one yesterday, a young man recently who we come to learn about in Solomon. This young man, he's 26 now, but he disclosed that he was selling drugs at 7 years old. Now, of course, that wasn't, in his mind. Someone put him up to do it. But he just had a real challenging life, eventually incarcerated about 16, and just a real hard life. But he was able to get himself together, did some time in the military, honorable discharge. So he's out now as a young adult, but it's so many life lessons he missed because of his youth. So, I was trying to help him out, and some of the moves we, made. And sometimes when you come across these folks, you're going to have to invest in them. When I say invest, I mean, you got to put some money in. So, did some investing and didn't really know how it went. Got him one part-time job, and I was on him about his full-time job. And then I got a text yesterday. So, Mr. Wilson, I got the full-time job. I got my part-time. I'm doing good. So, I was like, ooh, thank you. Because you don't know how this stuff is going to go.
It's funny, man, because you said something key. You're not always going to get the results when you want to get them. It's not always going to be immediate. Sometimes, you got to sow the seed, and you got to wait for the seed to grow. And you're impatient. You sitting back like, man, I did this, I did that, what? And sometimes not up to you. It's up to them. It's up to God. It's up to, a whole bunch of circumstances around them. And, somebody needed to hear that today, man. So I appreciate you saying that, because it is so, so true. Josh, what do you want to see happen in particular this summer through your work with 100 Black Men?
What I would like to see is for us to continue our programs and reach out to the community and support and engage with the community. So for the kids that come in at all ages, grades 1 through 12, I really want to see us be able to connect with them have them understand that we're here to support. We're here for anything that they need. We give out our personal numbers. Any time of the day, they can reach out to us and truly try to connect with the individuals and see how can we add value to their life. How can we help them and truly engage with them. So that's what I really want to see as we continue with this summer.
Yeah. Now, Joel, you've got a couple of things coming up in the next week or so with 100 Black Men. Just give us a couple of those events that are coming up. You said something about a game day.
Yes. So this Saturday we're having, it's called Game and Movie Day. It's going to be at the Vauxhall Picture High School in North Philly, 23rd Astor. And there we're going to be having fun. So again, playing Uno, Monopoly, game of course, chess, checkers. And we got some of the big, the big style board games. So you put them across the floor. We're going to have a heated hot breakfast, 10 to 11 a.m. So if you want it, you got to get there early. We'll have a pizza lunch, but just a fun time, just to hang out and network. So we'll have a lot of brothers in the chapter there. We'll have our high school work-ready interns. They'll be there. And it'll just be a great day. So encouraging folks to come out, totally free. You don't have to pay anything. Just come on out. You can visit our website at www.100blackphilly.org. You click on events, and you'll be able to sign up.
Okay. All right. And so if they want to get their young men into the larger program of 100 Black Men that goes beyond these events, how do parents get their kids involved in 100 Black Men?
So absolutely. I'll give you two ways you can do it. The first way is we actually list every youth program we're going to offer. You can find on the web link 100bmt.eventbrite.com. So 100B for Black, M for Man, T for Philly.eventbrite.com. You'll see all of our upcoming. So we are starting to recruit now for our fall program, which runs all year long. So you'll just be able to go there and register. Again, it's free. You can also call our office, and our office number is 267-238-2800. Give our office a call, and we'll be able to help you out.
All right. Give us that number one more time.
Okay, that number is 267-238-2900. 267-238-2900.
All right. All right. Well, Joel, I want to thank you for the work that you do, man, and 100 Black Men and all the other work that you do in our community. Joshua, thank you so much as well. It's been a pleasure talking to you both, and we wish you absolutely the best with 100 Black Men and all the work that you're doing.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right. All right, gentlemen. Thank you. We got a couple of minutes, so if you want to give us a call, you can do that at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. You can, of course, also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD at FORWRD. That's FORWURD. And that is where you can weigh in on the conversation. You can also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD at FORWRD. That's FORWURD. And you can comment there as well. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So a few comments that we have here. Linda Shields says, good morning, Word family. Solomon and Kawesa. Yesterday, while I was out celebrating my daughter's birthday, tell her we said happy belated. She said, I was so paranoid thinking of the individual that killed the woman in Center City and caused more mayhem and finally caught in Montgomery County. It made me think mental illness is a rising problem and needs to be addressed. in our society today. People need help now, and treating mental illness can help solve a lot of our problems today. So that is her comment there. Phyllis Williams says, thank you for the 100 Black Men program and everyone involved. You are well needed. God bless. So that's her comment there. Then we have Tanya Stevens, or Steffens, I'm sorry. I have a question for our city officials. If we can create skateboarding parks, why can't we create a safe park for dirt bikes, sell tickets? Some of the riders are extremely talented, but I guess it's the wrong demographic, unfortunately. So, yeah, I hear you on that. I mean, and that's another... Oh my gosh, think of all of the possibilities that could come along with that, right? So if you're selling tickets and then you can actually, give some of those monies to the riders. It could be ways to have legal financing, things like that for these young brothers out here who are just, trying to live their life. Like, there's so many possibilities with that. So yeah, I hear you. Phyllis Williams says, these nasty Simone Biles comments are ridiculous. It was okay when she was able to compete and win for America. Now since she's having issues, some people are throwing her under the bus. If Simone Biles chooses to leave gymnastics, she has many other hidden talents to offer us. Fantastic athlete. I pray she gets better mentally and physically. Yep, and I'm right there with you on that. And then we also have here Sheriff Bilal saying crickets from the National FOP. So that's her comment. Yep, absolutely correct there. And then we also have, and I see we have to go to break, so one last comment. Sugar Phillips says, they did it in Center City, cleanup crew with uniforms. Same can be done for the inner city. Guns in our neighborhoods, Trump's war on crime. I believe they flooded these cities hoping he would win so he can put black young men in concentration camps quickly or kill them. God knew. City needs to put that money in the streets, give those who want to work a job. So that is her comment as well. So those are comments.
All right. Yep. All right. So I want to invite you to stand with WURD, the only black-owned talk radio station in Pennsylvania. Did you know that you can join the forward movement and amplify voices of the black community as a digital member for as low as $5 per month? Visit membership at wordradio.com or call 215-425-7875. That's 215-425-7875. We need you. Show your support. Join or renew your forward membership today. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
If you or a loved one is searching for a home care agency that provides care both needed and deserved, call My Independence at Home at 215-921-2277. Featured in Oprah Magazine, My Independence at Home is committed to quality, compassionate home care for the elderly and adults with both physical and intellectual developmental disabilities. Call 215-921-2277 today for a free in-home consultation or visit us on the web at MYIA.org.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Month
with Stephanie Humphrey.
Brought to you by Comcast.
Using food or grocery delivery services like DoorDash, Grubhub, or Instacart proved to be a valuable lifeline for some during the pandemic. And even as the country opens up, food delivery is still very popular and shows no sign of slowing down. Here are some tips to make sure your next food or grocery delivery goes smoothly. Typically, the best time of the day to order groceries is first thing in the morning, but on most apps, you can schedule your delivery in advance, so take advantage of that feature to help avoid long wait times. Make sure you leave clear delivery instructions for your driver. Provide cross streets, landmarks, or a description of your home if necessary. And leave detailed instructions for your grocery shopper by specifying preferences in the comments in the app. If you're concerned about security within the app, use Apple Pay or PayPal as your payment method instead of storing your credit card information. And of course, make sure you tip your shopper or driver for their hard work. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
Save the date. Thursday, August 26th for Word Radio's annual Founders Day celebration, honoring the life of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD.
This year will be both in person and virtual.
Stay tuned to Word Radio and wordradio.com for more information.
That's Thursday, August 26th for our annual Founders Day celebration.
Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on wordradio.com, the Word Radio app,
or watch live on Word TV via Facebook and YouTube. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Circuits are busy.
Here's what's trending.
Yo, that's crazy.
On Wake Up with Word.
Hey, it's no longer a wonderful kind of day over at PBS. Long-running kids show Arthur is no more. The beloved cartoon based on a series of children's books has run for 25 seasons on PBS, but after the final episodes aired this year, it will no longer continue. What's more, production on the show wrapped 2 years ago. Author writer Kathy Wan revealed the sad news on the podcast Finding DW, a show dedicated to tracking down the 7 actors who voiced the role of Arthur's little sister, DW.
And positive update from Tiger Woods. The golf star is now putting significant weight on his surgically repaired leg. Just 5 months after the limb was nearly lost in a car crash, Woods was seen in Los Angeles this week, and while he's still crutching around and wearing a protective sleeve, the 45-year-old showed he's clearly able to put most, if not all, of his body weight on the leg.
And that's definitely good news. Also some good news, Will Smith is set to star as Richard Williams in the new trailer for King Richard. Venus Williams and Serena Williams are known as 2 of the greatest tennis players of all time. An inspirational story, the sisters were trained by their father, Richard Williams, from a very young age. Now it seems Richard Williams and his story will be getting some time in the spotlight and is set to air in theaters and HBO Max in fall of 2021 this year. So that's what's trending.
All right, so that's what's trending right here on WURD Radio. Great news about Tiger Woods and him being able to put most of his weight on his leg. Let's get him walking before we talk about him playing golf again. So that's really good news. I'm glad to hear that for him.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to hear it. I saw a couple pictures of him, and, he has crutches, but, he's definitely walking now, which is a beautiful thing to see. And, I think you're right. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, okay, so when's he going to be back on the field? But honestly, I want him to, just make sure that, he takes care of him, and just like so many of our athletes need to be doing. So, yeah, I'm just glad to see that he's doing better.
Yep, me too. The Arthur thing, my wife showed this to me yesterday. I was scrolling online and saw it, and I heard her say, "Oh no." I'm like, "What? Arthur's not going to be on anymore." And it's like, wow. But these are shows that like we watch with our kids like when they were coming up. So it's like we're losing a part of those memories,
Yeah, that makes me sad. I'm not even going to lie, like Arthur has been a part of my life since I was, 10? And so, to be able to come home and, because, back in the day, I didn't have cable in my room, but, we had a little antenna. We could just, watch our little shows. So Arthur was one of those shows for me. Arthur and, Wishbone and Zoom. Like, there were a couple of shows that I really, really loved when I would come home from school and watch. And, Arthur was one of them. And that is actually... It's really sad to hear. And also, didn't even know that it hasn't even been in production for almost 2 years. And so that's really sad. And I feel like a whole generation is going to miss out on Arthur.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely sad. And so, I mean, what are they supposed to be? Are they rabbits? Like, what are they?
No, well, they're all different types of animals.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so there's so many. I think, okay, so we have the rabbit. That's his friend. And then I thought that, is Arthur an aardvark? Is that what he is? No,
that's
but
what I'm saying. I'm like, well, wait a minute, I'm confused. Why is it all? I thought they were all like one family. Like,
no, they're all like different. They're all different animals, which is actually really kind of cool. I think, what's the other friend's name? Now I can't even remember. That's gonna suck. I can't remember her name now. But his friend, I think she's an ape or. Not gorilla, but some type of chimpanzee, something like that. So yeah, they're all different animals. I have this stupid, goofy grin on my face, Solomon, when I'm thinking about these old cartoons, like reminiscing and going back through it in my head. But yeah, they're all different animals.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna miss it. So but there'll be reruns. You can watch the reruns.
Yeah.
Okay, you want new ones? I'm
I
sorry.
do. I mean, but it's okay. I mean, I'm over here talking like I watch Arthur every like I don't, but I did, and so it's just sad. It's like just losing a little bit of childhood there. That's all.
Yeah, I hear you. I know all of those little movies and shows. Like I watched all of that with my kids, all of it. So I'll miss it too. And it's funny when we were in Jamaica, Levita turned on the TV and watched Clifford the Big Red Dog. You remember that?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Yo, with Emily Elizabeth. So I mean, all of that. We watched all of that stuff. So it's like, I'm gonna miss it too. Now, I saw some people kind of hating on Will Smith though, like, oh, they should get somebody else to play Richard Williams. I'm like, why y'all hating on the brother? I mean, what do you think?
I think that Will Smith is an amazing actor, so I feel that no matter what role he steps into, he's going to be magnificent in. And then also, if memory serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure that, Richard Williams knows that he's playing him, and I think, is actually pretty cool with it. The other thing that I've been seeing, too, is that I've been seeing some headlines that I am not really appreciative of in a couple of other media. Like they're saying, oh, Will Smith is going to play the pushy father of, Serena and Venus Williams. And I'm like, excuse me? So he's pushy because he was making sure that he was protecting his daughters and helped to make them the best that they could be. Like, I'm not here for that either. So, yeah, people are hating. But people, I think, also in general kind of hate on Will Smith a little bit just because of the fact that he doesn't fit this model of what they expect for black men to be like, and so I think that's another reason why folks are kind of hating on him. I'm like, yo, he's living his best life, and I'm here for it.
That's right. So yeah, I'm glad to see him playing the role, and Richard Williams had to be pushy. He had to do what he had to do because they did not want his daughters in tennis. They know. If we get in and we can compete, we're going to win. And they didn't want that. And so he had to protect his daughters from the racism that they were going to encounter and continue to encounter throughout their careers. So I can't wait to see him brought to life on the screen by Will Smith. And I am looking forward to it. I want to hear from you. Give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. That's 215-634-8065. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065. Of course, talking about Representative Mo Brooks. Mo Brooks was wearing body armor on January 6th because he knew there was going to be violence. My question is, if he knew, then everybody else must have knew. Why didn't y'all have the National Guard there? You know what I'm saying? Heads need to roll. Philadelphia City Council going to distribute $20 million to community groups to fight gun violence in our community. I think it's a great start. I would love to see the city create a job program for some of these young men and women who are impacted by and at risk for being impacted by gun violence. So we'll see what happens with that as well. And, of course, story number 3, the House looking to subpoena some members of the Trump administration. That will probably be met with lawsuits to try to keep those people from testifying. We will see what happens. I want to see Trump on the stand. You the one told him to come. You the one sent him down there. You told him, go down there, fight like hell. I'll be there with you. Of course, you weren't. You were lying about that, just like everything else. And I want to see his people on the stand. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. And what do you think about Will Smith playing Richard Williams in the new trailer for King Richard, the father of Venus and Serena? Let's talk to Miss T from Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Miss T.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
How are you both? Hope all is well. I just wanted to comment because I'm a huge moviegoer. It's like reading a good book and then going to go see the movie. A lot of us tend to critique it very, very well. And I read that book, and it is absolutely amazing. I have no doubt that Will Smith will probably execute the character of the book. However, when I see a biopic, I envision someone who embodied a character like Denzel executed Malcolm X. Even the young lady who played Whitney Houston, Yaya, she executed Whitney because she resembled her. And because Denzel resembled Malcolm. Like, you couldn't tell me for a moment. Like, it was so chilling. And anyone who saw those movies know what I'm talking about. And so I do not think that he should have been picked to actually from a physical perspective. But in terms of executing, who doesn't love Will Smith? I have no doubt that he would kill it. But I just would like to have seen someone else, even, you know, because there's so much going on right now, especially when you're talking about race and even black-on-black crimes and black-on-black against racism. Why wouldn't they have someone who is a darker color play Mr. Richard Williams? You know, there's so many actors out there that could have executed that. Even these new people who are not as well known. You know, give someone else an opportunity. So those are my thoughts.
Okay. All right. So I hear you. Yeah, he doesn't resemble him in terms of his skin tone. So I hear you. I want to know what you guys think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And I don't know. I mean, do you think well, I have seen some people play some people. I'm like, why they picked up? You know what I mean? Like, I think the one that took the cake, Kwesa, was when they let, oh, God, what's the sister's name? Her name escapes me, but they put her in blackface.
Are you talking about Zoe Saldana?
Zoe Saldana. Why they do that?
Yeah.
Why they do that?
That was wrong.
That was so wrong. You know what I mean? Just get India Arie.
I wanted India Arie to play her. I did, and they didn't choose her. But
yeah. So, you know, Will could be lighter and play him. Just don't put him in no black. And I know Will ain't going to allow that anyway. So, you know, we will see what happens, and we'll talk about that and so much more tomorrow, because that's it for today's show. I want to thank all of our guests, Joel Wilson and Joshua Pinkston from 100 Black Men. They do so much in the community. Make sure you support that organization. And, of course, Jay McCalla, political commentator extraordinaire, and now for super producer Kwesa Mathis and everyone here at WURD Radio. I'm your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more. Wake up with Word. Peace.